kids. Today I'm putting together this little video to show all of you, whether you're in my class or Mr. Cannon's or Mr. Bizarre's, about what you need to be working on for National History Day, in particular your annotated bibliography. So here we are at the NHD page. Before I get to the annotated bibliography, you need to know that you have these quizzes due. We've all worked together and developed these quizzes, one for every event. So whatever event you are in, you need to take the corresponding quiz. They're all about 10 questions, mostly about the rules that in our experience people have had trouble with or been disqualified for or been tripped up on. So it's not a punishment, we're just trying to make sure you get on the right track. You can go to the NHD website, look up the rule book, look up the answers if you need to. It's not about that, it's just you have to get a perfect score, and we want you to know the rules before you do all the work on your project only to have something happen and you get disqualified. Okay, so work on whichever of those, and if you're in a group, every member of your group needs to separately complete 100% the corresponding quiz. All right, with that out of the way, let's get back to bibliographies. So Mr. Cannon talked to the NHD and they recommended EasyBib. In the past I've used Citation Machine. Both of them work about the same, but we're going to go through EasyBib today since that's what they've recommended. It's a free site with some paid content. Do not pay for content, it's a trap. All right, so I've signed up right here for the free account, and you can do that too. We're going to create a citation, and what I've decided we want to do that on is my autobiography of Ben Franklin. So if I had the ISBN number it'd be better, but it's messed up, so we're going to have to do this the hard way. You pick what your source is, and it could be any of these things, okay? Database, online, newspaper, whatever. In this case, obviously it's a book. You'll be using a lot of websites too. I'm going to click on book. I've already put this in, so I would type in the title, search for it. You'll find, especially with older books like this, that there's probably a lot of different people who've printed it. Okay, so I know from looking through these earlier that the one I need is clear down here by the bottom somewhere. Yale University Press, edited by Labrie, 1964. That's the version I just showed you. So we're going to cite that. It'll bring up the net full title, who published it and when. You can double check all that. Just go to the title page, look all those things up, make sure they're the same. Then you continue. And one thing that I need to change is Mr. Leonard Labrie is not an author, he's an editor. And so I have to make that correction. Most things you probably won't have to make any change with, especially if you go by ISBN number, but at any rate. With all that information plugged in, it does the work of putting this in MLA format for me. So right here, this first one would be if Mr. Labrie is one of the authors. These bottom two are because he's an editor. So I could just click on that, copy it, and everything's in the proper format. I have the author, the name, the editor, the publication date, all of that properly formatted, commas, spaces, everything you need just the way you need it for your NHD project. So just copy those and then paste those onto either a Word document or a Google Sheet, however you're making your bibliography. Two types of bibliographies. Okay, one, just at the end you've kind of got a works cited page where you're going to put everything you used in your project. But the annotated bibliography is not really about that. It's about building what's going to become your project. So I'm going to show you. This is one that I just picked that someone did last year. Okay, so I erased their name, I erased which teacher, but this is one they did last year out of honors. And they've, you know, cut and paste everything on this first line is the actual source. Okay, after that they've got some notes. Hey, what did they learn from this source? Now if you look at this first one, we chose a source that has some really amazing quotes that really show how Jackie Robinson was on and off the field. Lots of good pictures. It has news reports from that time. That's a good bibliography, but you can get a lot more specific with that. All right, this is what you need at a minimum, but if you want to use this for quality research, you might do something like this. Page 4, picture of Jackie Robinson with Dodgers owner on opening day. I don't know if that's real, but that's just something you could put. And then page 210, again, I'm making this up. Paragraph 3, quote by JR about being first black baseball player. So what I am trying to tell you here with your annotated bibliography is you need the proper citation. And then you need some semblance of what does it say, an overview. But you can and you should put in some very specific information after all of that that you might include this picture in your presentation. You might not, but hey, it was important enough that you wrote it down. You might want to use this quote somewhere in your presentation. Oh, I still spelled that wrong. So if you see what I'm getting at, you can use this as a tool so that when you look over your annotated bibliography page, you go, I really like that picture, I want to use that. But this other one, I'm not going to use. You don't have to delete it just because you didn't use it. This just gives you kind of a format. So you can look visually at all these little sources. That really goes well with this other one. I'm going to use those. So at a minimum, you're going to need the citation. Okay? You're going to need after that a summary of what is in that book or that journal or that website. But I highly encourage you to put some very specific things underneath that you are actually going to use and pull from when you make your presentation. In some of my college finals, we had to do these annotated bibliographies, and I had just pages and pages and pages of them. And I used maybe a third of what I had, dug up and what I had cited. But that's okay, because once I looked at it, I just looked at it with like a magic marker and was like, I'm going to circle this, I don't need that. Circle this, I want to use that. I drew an arrow, this page is going to go with that. And it really helped me build my paragraph structure. It helped me build the flow of that final, which was like a 10-page monster. It made it easy. I'm just connecting the puzzle pieces, and all I have to really do is write all the transitions in between. So I'm hoping you will use this annotated bibliography like this. Every time you get a new source, immediately get the citation. Make this overall summary. And if you find a specific item in that website or in that book, I want you to know where in the book it was and what that specific part you like is, because that will save you so much time afterwards when you're trying to put all this together. I can't remember. I know it was in this book. It said something about that. The last thing I wanted to show you about sourcing your annotated bibliography is this, lily.org. Hopefully you've used it before. You probably have in English, but it's an outstanding resource, and it'll do some things that'll help you out in college again. So let's say I'm looking for something on Ben Franklin here. We're going to search it up. Well, that makes me sad. Benjamin Franklin? He's a real person. I've heard of him. All right, well, I don't know what I'm doing there, so let's just go here. Let's look down through the most popular databases, okay? For what I'm doing with something in history and what you're going to be looking up for things, I would highly recommend the Academic Search Premier or the EBSCO. Those two are going to be gold. I'm going to go to EBSCO right now. It wants to know where I live because this is free if you live in Idaho. So once I sign in, I'm going to get access to all this stuff. All right, so here's some of what you get there. I'm going to look up Benjamin Franklin. Well, this is going great, isn't it? All right, let's go back to that premier site. We'll go to the academic search premier. Maybe I remembered wrong. It happens to teachers too. There we go. This is the one I'm looking for. Benjamin Franklin. Okay. Washington View, lessons from Benjamin Franklin, social conditions. Hey, I'm going to look that up. Now, what is nice about these is some you're not going to have full access to, but a lot of them, and you're looking for that, do you have the PDF full text? And if I go back, I can show you where that is. If it says it has HTML full text or PDF full text, you get the entire article. That's what you want. So if I'm going to pop on this one, and let's say there's something there I want to use, okay, obviously I have the ability to come through and cut and paste a section I want, all right? But on top of that, I can come over here to the detailed record, and I can go over here to cite. This is going to be such a good tool for you when you're looking through articles. If I go to cite, it'll let me pick what kind of format I want to use. So we just look for MLA right here, and here it is. Here's my citation right there. So if you find an article or a book here through the lily.org, you don't even have to run it through the citation machine. You can go right through here and get the full citation. All right, so those are some of the tools you can use to make your annotated bibliography. Feel free to watch this video again if you need to. And if you're still confused, talk to one of your friends first. And then if together you can't figure it out, talk to one of us teachers. And lastly, you don't have to only talk to your teacher. Any of us history folk will be able to help you with anything that has to do with NHD. So if your teacher's not there or you can't get a hold of him, feel free to talk to one of the others of us. And good luck. We look forward to seeing your projects like we do every year.